meeting to order for the Raymore City Council regular meeting for Monday, June the 25th. Could I please have the roll call?
Councilmember Abdelgawad.
Here.
Councilmember Barber.
Present. Councilmember
Berenson.
Present.
Councilmember Burke.
Present.
Councilmember Serko.
Present.
Councilmember Holman.
Present.
Councilmember Kellogg.
Present.
Councilmember Townsend.
Present.
Mayor Turnbow.
Present. Could you all please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I got to get back down there. That's right. This week, we were supposed to have a couple of ribbon cuttings in our park at Memorial Park, and there the proclamation for Arbor Day was supposed to have been read, but we did cancel those plans due to the weather. And so at this time, I would like to read that proclamation. Nate, if you could come forward for presentation to yourself and for the park. It says, whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees, and whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling cost, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife, and whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products, and whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community, and whereas to celebrate Arbor Day in Raymore, the Arboretum at Memorial Park is being dedicated, consisting of over 30 mature Missouri native trees of 16 different species, and is ADA accessible with paved walking trails. Now therefore, I, Christopher P. Turnbow, Mayor of the City of Raymore, do hereby proclaim June 21st, 2018 as Arbor Day in the City of Raymore, and do here encourage all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day by planting a tree in support of efforts to protect our trees and woodlands for future generations, and witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Raymore to be affixed this 21st day of June, 2018.
Thank you, sir.
Could you kind of give us an update on the Arboretum?
Yes, sir.
And I did see him planting trees out here as well. Could you kind of give us an update on that?
So the Arboretum at Memorial Park is, for all intents and purposes, complete. We have signage at the base of each tree. There's a tree identification sign that tells kind of what the tree is, little significant piece of information on that particular species. Significant trees dedicated as arbor trees or memorial trees will also have a sign there. So if you go and walk the trails, you'll see that. We do have 2 entrance signs, one at the south entrance and one at the north entrance that have been delivered, and will be installed. They just have not been installed yet. And as far as Centerview is concerned, the warranty for the plantings that we had last year, that we are basically replacing some of the plants than the trees that have passed away or died. And so those are being taken care of this week as well. But the Arboretum is open, and I hope everybody goes out and enjoys them. Thank you.
Thanks, Nate. Before I move on to the next, to the formal, more formal portions of our agenda tonight, as has been my past practice, between the last meeting and now, we lost 2 law enforcement officers from our region, 2 Wyandotte County deputies who were killed in the line of duty. And at this moment, I would ask for a moment of silence in remembrance of them and their families, and pray for the Sheriff's Department, if you would, please. Thank you very much. Now let's move on to personal appearances. There are none on the agenda tonight, so we'll move on to staff reports. Mr. Fearborn.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would ask Ms. Warner to make a report for the City Clerk's office.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Each year in June, certain records of the city are destroyed in accordance with the Missouri Records Retention Manual as published by the Secretary of State's office. This year, 2,409 pounds of city records were destroyed by shredding on June 21st and witnessed by myself as required. This staff report included in your council packet provides you detailed information on those records, and I do want to note that I did hand out a revision to that staff report that provides corrections to boxes 2018 5 through 7. That concludes my staff report. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions of Jeannie? And is Dono here? He should have a gusset on. I saw him carrying all that stuff out to the trailer. I don't know if he hurt his back or not, because there were a lot of records that had to be destroyed. Okay, Mr. Fearborn.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ms. Warner. I would ask Mr. Krass to make a report for the Public Works Department.
Thank you, Mr. Fearborn, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. In addition to my written report, I want to give an update on several of our projects. The weather continues to cooperate with us, and the progress is being made on the 155th Street Bridge. We are still on schedule for hopefully completing by the end of July, as long as weather cooperates. Johnson Drive should be paved this week, and we will be working on patching Kurzwell Road next week, and that concludes my staff report.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Thank you, sir. Mr. Fearborn.
Thank you, Mr. Krass. I would ask Mr. Mustine to make a report for Parks and Recreation.
Thank you, sir, and thank you for the proclamation. I've submitted a written report, but I want to remind everybody tonight during my staff report about a Spirit of America event this Saturday night. So I'll give you some quick details and updates on that and answer any questions. Our title sponsors this year are Community Bank of Raymore and T-Mobile USA. We have partners in Pathways Church and Smile Doctors at Braces, business here in town. We will have the Rick Cook Band, which is country and southern rock music, highly recommended. We have 2 bounce houses, kids games, a dunk tank, so if anybody is interested in sitting in a dunk tank, I'm your guy. I can hook you up with that. Also with that, we have Cajun Cabin, KC Pinoy, Kona Ice, Minsky's, and Chick Hooven Swine Barbecue for food trucks at the event. We will also be providing concessions, popcorn, drinks, and stuff like that at our own concession stand. The band starts at 7 o'clock. Fireworks start around 9:40, and be sure to download the app so that you'll have the music and the advertisements and those things that go along with the fireworks show. So that can be accessed through our website or our Facebook page. So we're excited. My staff is ready to go, and we look forward to having a great crowd this Saturday night. So.
Thank you, Nathan. Any questions of Nate? Mr. Holman.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mustine, as you well know, this last week was the last week of recreational baseball out here at the parks, and my son had a couple of games. I noticed a sign, what I thought was probably new, or maybe I just missed it in the past. It was posted on one of the dugouts, and it was titled, "He's Only a Little Boy." Yes. Very impressive. I didn't see any others, but I didn't do a hard search for those. Can you give me a little background? I thought that was fantastic.
Yes, sir. Currently, we only have the one sign, and it was taken. It's an older sign. It was up before we had the fences replaced, and we just put it back up. Honestly, we found it because it kind of got pushed in the back of so we found it and put it up. It originally came from, I believe, Mr. Metzger. And I think Mr. Serco was also a part of providing that sign. It was through a Farmers Insurance, I think, is where that came from. But
I thought that was great, and I think that there is a need, if we can find more, to post those on all of the ball fields and perhaps some other locations as well. I think in the heat of battle, parents in particular tend to forget that phrase.
Yes, sir. I'll see if those are available. If not, we'll find something comparable to post.
Okay. Mr. Dogowan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Quick question, Nathan, you didn't mention the car show. I know a lot of people come to the car show and look forward to that. Is that happening this year?
No, the car show is not happening this year.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you, Nate.
Thank you.
Mr. Fearborn.
Thank you, Mr. Mustine. I would ask Chief Zimmerman to make a report for the Police Department.
Thank you, Mr. Fearborn. I'm going to call Captain Roger Mayberry up, who is going to dazzle you with a drone demonstration hopefully. The entire team, I think, is deployed this evening to make this happen for you all. Mr. Icky is outside. He's going to be flying the drone. That should be streaming to your computers. So I'll turn it over to Roger.
It worked Thursday when we tried it out, so we're going to try it again. But before we actually do the demonstration, I had a few things to go over with you all. Basically, where we are with our program, some of our equipment acquisition, and after the demo, I have a few short videos to show you of actual drones in use with other agencies. 3 years ago, myself, the chief, and Captain Jim Wilson attended a tech summit up at Union Station. And some of the vendors there, or part of the vendors, were folks peddling drone technology. And as we were going through the vendors, I stopped and talked to them a little bit, and didn't think too much more about it afterwards. But now a lot has changed just within a few short years. For example, KCPD started their drone program in April of 2016. And very recently, I heard a radio recruitment advertisement recruiting for Leavenworth police officers. And as they were going through talking about their different specialized departments within their department, they talked about K9 and SWAT and so forth, and their newly formed drone unit. So these are things that are really catching on, especially with public safety. Also, very recently, Mid-America Regional Council has been meeting to talk about a regional strategic plan for drone usage. And according to their survey, 27% of the membership already utilize drones in some capacity, with 2/3 wanting to also do that. Not surprisingly, the biggest thing that has happened in the last few years is the Federal Aviation Administration has signed on by creating Title 14 of the Code of Federal Regulations, Part 107. If any of you are in aviation at all, you know that they refer to Part this or Part that. And in our case, drone flying is Part 107. So anytime you hear us referring to that, we're talking about the rules and regulations that pertain to drone pilots. So in that vein, last fall, myself, Captain Jimmy Wilson, and Lieutenant Ali Abdelgawad went to flight training. And we learned not just hands-on about how to fly the drones, but also what to expect on the FAA's Part 107 exam. And so we've done that, and since then we've added several folks to our team. Most of you, of course, know Communications Director Mike Icky, and you've probably seen him out here flying his drone around, taking videos and pictures for the city. So he's part of our crew now, as is network technician Noah Demetz. And Noah came to the city with his Part 107 certification, so it just seemed to be a natural fit to bring him on board. And with his IT background, it's going to help us out quite a bit. Rounding out the crew is Lieutenant Steve Donahoe, who's our crew chief. And Steve's the kind of guy that could build you an airplane out of paper clips if you ask him to. So we're pretty certain that he can keep us flying. So like I said, we're a work in progress. Right now we're still working on our SOPs, and we're in the beginning stages of applying to the FAA for our night flying waiver. We feel that's going to be the most critical element of our operation. So once we get that done, we believe we will be 100% operational at that time. As far as our equipment goes, you can see back on the table, the Phantom 4 Pro is the little white drone. That's what we refer to as our training drone. The operation of the training drone is the same as the big drone, and we'll utilize it to get most of our training hours. And then, of course, most of you saw it as you walked in. The Matrice 210 is our flagship drone, and the thing that's that stands out the most about the Matrice is its dual gimbal system that allows us to fly 2 cameras at one time. And that's what we're going to try to demonstrate here in just a second, is how we're able to utilize both cameras. One camera is a thermal imaging camera, which again will come in very handy at night, but it does have daytime applications as well. So I think if we can get them airborne, as soon as we get them airborne, what's happening is
Mike Icky will be flying the drone, but I'll be operating the cameras. And that's how we will operate in real life. That way the drone pilot can focus on the flying of the drone and the camera operator can focus on the cameras. And again, it worked Thursday, folks, so we'll see. I'm going to switch over to thermal here real quick. And you'll notice on the thermal camera we have a variety of palettes we can choose from that will change depending on there we go. Depending on the background that you have. And I'm not getting control. Well, I'm sorry, folks. I do not have control of that camera. For some reason, Chief, we're not getting control of the camera.
Part of our challenge too is the distance between the two controllers. You know, some of what, as Roger had said, it was working on Thursday. It is the, you know, any time that we're going to be deploying the drone at a crime scene or anywhere else, those individuals are going to be right there side by side. So the camera controller and the drone pilot are going to be, you know, right there together. And so our challenge and making it streamed, you know, to all of you all was to hardwire this in. So, you know, and what you'll see in some of the kind of choppiness in the picture that you're getting is not happening on the controllers at all. It's very smooth. So.
Okay. There we go. And the thermal imaging camera has a zoom feature. There we go. You can see someone's waving. I'm not sure who that is.
I think that's Mike, right?
I'm still having some difficulty getting control of the camera. And as the chief was saying, the issue is because we're here inside with one of the controllers, the other controller's outside. There's a lot of metal between here and there.
Obviously, the importance of the FLIR capability and the very pricey FLIR camera that's on the drone is to enable us to search for individuals, and you'll see some video that Roger's going to show you here momentarily that shows that capability, you know, searching for individuals, you know, children who may have walked away or elderly persons, you know, who may be missing, and we have a good idea of, you know, them being in a wooded area, that sort of thing. So the thermal imaging is really important, an important capability allowing us to search.
Well, Chief, I'm afraid that's probably all we're going to be able to do.
Nice picture of the bank.
Yeah. Nice. You ever want to know what the top of the bank looked like? Yeah, I'm just not getting. Okay. So we'll go ahead and move on to some of the videos that we have. These are just videos that I found that other agencies have posted with their drone in use. The first one is an elderly lady with dementia that had wandered off into a cornfield, and they utilized the drone to find this lady. If you would, Mr. Cataret. imagine if you had people on the ground and you're trying to search something as massive as a cornfield with the height of the corn and all that, it would be very difficult to find somebody. You'd almost have to step on them to find them. And with this, they just positioned a drone over the top and told the ground units where to go find them. Okay. And then the second one is an agency, I believe out of Louisiana, that was using the thermal imaging camera to capture some runaway juveniles. And then lastly, we have a video, I believe, from an agency in Texas where they're trying to capture a wanted felon. Now, the agency is obviously using just a standard camera. You'll see this guy pop out from behind the building here in just a second. But if they had a thermal camera, even during the daytime, as long as there's a heat signature, the camera will see that. So if they had had one here, they would have been able to pinpoint this guy a little quicker than they did. There you can see he's crawling to another shrub. And of course, the drone operators would be calling out to the corresponding ground units to come in and make the arrest. And you can see here they come. And they know right where to go. I thought it was interesting, right about now the drone operator turns away from the whole thing. I'm not sure why. I know you all will have a lot of questions. I'd be happy to answer what questions you might have right now. But what I did want to say is we plan on keeping the equipment over here throughout the duration of the meeting. And afterwards, if you all have any other questions, or maybe if you want to step outside and actually see the drone fly, we can do that as well. The only other thing I would say is earlier I said that a lot has happened in the last 3 years. And it's no telling where our technology is going to be 3 years from now. But when we get there, if you all feel that we're ready for an upgrade, I just want to let you know we're ready. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain. Anybody have any questions of the Captain? Yeah, Mr. Townsend.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Captain Mayberry. Excellent presentation and very excellent devices. I just had a quick question. How many drone units are there in Cass County?
I'm only aware of 2, us being one of them, and the Sheriff's Department having one themselves.
Okay. And do we provide support with that scarcity?
We're just starting to dip our toe in the water of what all we're going to be able to do with these things. I will tell you that we were asked very recently by the Belton Police Department if our drone would be available when they had the missing girl the other day.
I see. Which brings the other question up with regard to our drone unit personnel. They're not, the 2 gentlemen that you spoke to are not police officers.
No.
It's from a call, how would we support in that aspect? Is there a,
Sorry.
granted, we're working on SOPs, I understand. So
Right,
things
right.
just, not necessarily
Well, and as
answer
I-
now, just things to consider and think of.
Yeah, as I was going through the list of folks that are part of our team, it occurred to me, you might be thinking, well, just how many people does it take to fly this thing? And as you saw, we can do it with 2. So the idea is we will have at least 2 people available at all times, like on an on-call status. And it doesn't matter to us whether they're police officers or they're not. We chose them because of their skill levels in other areas. Noah, for example, very skilled in IT, and these things really are nothing more than flying computers. So we need somebody like that. Mr. Icky, of course, knows quite a bit about videography and taking pictures with drones, and so we're hoping he can help us out with that.
With that said, though, in answer to your question, one of the individuals, if we're flying over a crime scene, you know, and what we're looking for, you know, obviously we want people with the expertise like Mr. Icky and Mr. Demetz, but also the law enforcement folks who know, you know, what we're looking for.
I see. Outstanding. Thank you.
Mr. Kellogg.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And Mr. Mayor, you just answered one of my questions because that's exactly what I was thinking as the search that was going on over in Belton last week. Right. So thank you for that. The thing that I'm kind of curious about, I know probably following the SOPs, but when this gets up and going and the flight crew is completely online in that and it's being utilized by the police for the purpose that it's actually for, would we be wise to start thinking about, like if I was to have a drone, the possibility of me interfering with the investigation that could be going on, other people flying for just so they can stream their Facebook Live while, you know, that's what worries me, is that, you know, and that is one heck of an investment, even though it's insured, it's still, you know, I see that as a possible kind of a problem that I think we should be thinking about. Go ahead.
There would still be the issue of interfering with a police investigation. So that could be an issue no matter if we're on the ground or airborne. We could utilize that to keep people from doing what they're not supposed to be doing.
Anyone else? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I brought my fan club.
And I just wanted to say, on behalf of Captain Mayberry and the rest of the drone team, thank you all so much for supporting this. This is going to be a tremendous benefit, we believe, to the citizens of Raymore, allowing us capability that we didn't have before, which would not have happened without you all's support.
Thank you, Chief. Mr. Fearborn.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Captain. Just wanted to brief the council on a couple of items. Next week, your work session, Monday, July 2nd. There are currently 3 items on the agenda. There will be a Communications and Marketing Quarterly Report, joint meeting with the Arts Commission, and water and sewer rates, and a water and sewer rate presentation relative to our meter replacement program that we'd like to discuss with the council. Those will be the 3 items. Second item, just a reminder to the council that tomorrow evening at 5 p.m. there'll be an informal tour and question and answer session on the progress of the RAC. We'll be down at the RAC at 5. It will not necessitate, they're far enough along, it will not necessitate a hard hat tour. Okay. So nobody has to worry about their hair, especially me.
Thanks. Any
that
questions?
concludes staff reports, sir.
All right. Thank you, Jim. Any questions, Mr. Fearborn? Thank you, sir. Next item on our agenda is committee reports, of which there are none. And the next item, though, is a fairly lengthy consent agenda. We have 10 items on the consent agenda. Many of those are appointments tonight and reappointments. Is there a motion to dispose of the consent agenda?
And Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the consent agenda to include item A, City Council minutes, June 11th, 2018. Item B, acceptance of public improvements, East Middle School sanitary sewer. Item C, acceptance of public improvements, Meadowwood third plat, lots 95 through 108. Item D, reappointment of Robert Berry to the Raymore Arts Commission. Item E, reappointment of Lauren Jones to the Arts Commission. Item F, reappointment of Michelle Hiles-Seamers to Parks and Rec Board. Item G, reappointment of Jim Heath to Parks and Recs Board. Item H, reappointment of Eric Eastwood to Parks and Rec Board. Item I, appointment of Rich Bartlow to Parks and Rec Board. Items J, appointment of Ryan Supple to Parks and Rec Board.
And a page and a half later, I'll second the motion, sir.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? Just to let you all know, Mr. Bartow is in the audience tonight as our appointee for the Parks Board. I don't see any other appointees out here tonight or reappointments. Just wanted to point him out to you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion carries 8-0. Thank you. So we'll move on to unfinished business. Could I please have the second reading of Bill 3364 by title only?
The second reading of Bill 3364 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, amending the zoning map from A Agricultural District to PO Professional Office District, part of Tract 1A, replat of Tracts 1 and 2 in Kirby Estates, Cass County, Missouri.
Thank you. Is there a motion to dispose of Bill 3364?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve Bill 3364, rezoning of Kirby Estates.
I'll second the motion, sir.
Thank you. Motion been made and seconded to approve the second reading of Bill 3364. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion carries unanimously, 8-0. Could I please have the second reading of Bill 3365 by title only?
The second reading of Bill 3365 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, approving the second replat of Kirby Estates, a minor subdivision located in Section 9, Township 46 North, Range 32 West, Raymore, Cass County, Missouri.
Thank you. Is there a motion to dispose of Bill 3365?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve Bill 3365, second replat of Kirby Estates.
I'll second the motion, sir.
Thank you. The motion's been made and seconded to approve the second reading of Bill 3365. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion carries 8-0 unanimously. Thank you. Could I please have the second reading of Bill 3366 by title only?
The second reading of Bill 3366 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, approving the Sunrise Commons final plat, a replat of Lot A of the replat of Tract 4, Bush Industrial Park, located in Section 15, Township 46 North, Range 32 West, Raymore, Cass County, Missouri.
Thank you. Is there a motion to dispose of Bill 3366?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve Bill 3366, Sunrise Commons final plat.
I'll second the motion, sir.
Thank you. The motion's been made and seconded to approve the second reading of Bill 3366. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion carries 8-0. Thank you. Could I please have the second reading of Bill 3367 by title only?
The second reading of Bill 3367 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, approving the final plat for Westbrook at Creekmore, 14th plat, lots 371 through 405, and tracts MM, N, O, P, and Q, located in Section 4, Township 46 North, Range 32 West, Raymore, Cass County, Missouri.
Thank you. Is there a motion to dispose of Bill 3367?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve Bill 3367, Westbrook at Creekmore, 14th final plat.
I'll second the motion, sir.
Thank you. Motion been made and seconded to approve the second reading of Bill 3367. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion carries unanimously, 8-0. Thank you. Could I please have the second reading of Bill 3369 by title only?
The second reading of Bill 3369 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Grid Iron Construction for the permeable paver crosswalks project, City Project number 18-295-201, in the amount of $168,445, and authorizing the city manager to approve change orders within established budget constraints.
Thank you. Is there a motion to dispose of Bill 3369?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve Bill 3369, award of contract permeable paver crosswalks.
I'll second the motion, sir.
Thank you. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the second reading of Bill 3369. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion carries 8-0 unanimously. Thank you. Could I please have the second reading of Bill 3370 by title only?
The second reading of Bill 3370 by title only, an agreement between the City of Raymore and the University of Kansas Public Management Center to provide strategic planning services.
Thank you. Is there a motion to dispose of Bill 3370?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve Bill 3370, award of contract strategic planning community conversations update.
I'll second the motion, sir.
Thank you. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the second reading of Bill 3370. As you know, this is the another opportunity for the council and myself to interact with the community on future items of interest and to kind of resurvey where we've come over the last couple of years with the capital improvement projects that have been approved by the previous bond issue. We're hoping to have some the same success comes out of the next group of conversations. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion carries 8-0. Thank you. Okay, please have the second reading of Bill 3371 by title only.
The second reading of Bill 3371 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter into a cooperation agreement and memorandum of understanding between the City Council and the Parks and Recreation Board.
Thank you. Is there a motion to dispose of Bill 3371?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve Bill 3371, memorandum of understanding, City Council and Park Board.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. Motion been made and seconded to approve the second reading of Bill 3371. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion carries unanimously, 8-0. Thank you. I will move on to new business. Could I please have the first reading of Bill 3375 by title only?
The first reading of Bill 3375 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, establishing an intergovernmental agreement with the Raymore Peculiar School District to provide school resource officer services for schools in Raymore and the East Middle School.
Thank you. Is there a staff report, sir?
Yes, I would ask Chief Zimmerman to make staff report on this item.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fearborn. As you all are aware, in 2016, the City Council approved an SRO agreement with the school district, and that agreement has obviously been extremely beneficial both for the schools within Raymore and the East Middle School. The school district is proposing that we continue that agreement, actually with a raise in the agreement that you have before you. I do want to point out that I made an error on the agenda item memo. It's actually not $260 a day, it's $262 a day. So we're actually going to get $2 more from the school district than what is written there. The contract before you is correct, so the $262 is actually correct. But we have an outstanding relationship with the school district, and it has been incredibly beneficial for the children attending those schools as well as our officers having that relationship.
I absolutely agree with that. Any questions of the chief? Ms. Abdelgawad.
Just a quick question. Has there been any interest from the school board in increasing the number of SROs we partner with them?
Is this a setup? Actually, yes. I did not, this was approved last week on the 20th at the school board meeting. I did not have the opportunity to attend, but there have been conversations that there is interest on the part of the district in increasing that, the number of officers from 1 to 2 from Raymore, and that has not happened yet, but there has been lots of conversation, yes.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you, Chief. I would entertain a motion to dispose of Bill 3375.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve Bill 3375, agreement with Raymore Peculiar School District for SRO services.
I'll second the motion, sir.
Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded to approve the first reading of Bill 3375. Any further discussion? Ms. Abdelgawad.
Thank you. Just a few quick comments kind of to follow up my question. Working in the Belton School District, where they have quite a few more SROs than we have in Ray Peck, I see huge benefits both for kids, for families, for teachers, for administration, across the board, for the police department, having that partnership with the school district, as well as building relationships with kids in the schools and with families in the community. So For the record, I'm 100% in support of any more officers we can get in our schools. I think it has huge benefits. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Anyone else? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion carries unanimously, 8-0. Could I please have the first reading of Bill 3374 by title only?
The first reading of Bill 3374 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Terry Snelling Construction, Inc. for the 2018 sidewalk project, City Project Number 18-310-201 and 202, in the amount of $68,694.20, and authorizing the city manager to approve change orders within established budget constraints.
Thank you. Is there a staff report, sir?
Thank you, Your Honor. I would ask Mr. Krass to make a staff report on this agenda item.
Thank you, Mr. Fearborn, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. This is a continuation of the city's annual sidewalk project. This year's project includes constructions of sidewalks along North Park Drive, Park Court, and West Maple Street, along with 2 locations that fall under the city's sidewalk gap program. The agenda item memo summarizes the bids received, and we do recommend award to Terry Snelling Construction. That concludes staff report.
Thank you, Mike. Any questions of Mike? Hearing none, is there a motion to dispose of the first reading of Bill 3374?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve Bill 3374, award of contract 2018 sidewalk project.
I'll second the motion, sir.
Thank you. The motion's been made and seconded to approve the first reading of Bill 3374. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion carries 8-0 unanimously. Thank you. Could I please have the first reading of Bill 3373 by title only?
The first reading of Bill 3373 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, amending sections 210.400 and 210.410 of the Raymore City Code of Ordinances to increase the age for sale of tobacco products to 21 years and to regulate electronic tobacco products.
Thank you. Is there a staff report, sir?
Thank you, sir. I would ask Mr. Zerr to make a staff report on this item.
Thank you, Mr. Fearborn, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Happy to be able to provide the staff report this evening. This comes to you based upon a couple of your recent work sessions. Upon a request, it seeks to amend the code section for tobacco products in order to amend the sale age to age 21. It also incorporates e-cigarettes, vaping equipment, and some of the new technology for nicotine delivery. It's being presented to you this evening as drafted and presented at our prior work session. I'm happy to answer any questions. That concludes staff report.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Zerr. Any questions of Mr. Zerr? There are none. Is there a motion to dispose of the first reading of Bill 3373?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve Bill 3373, amending sections 210.400 and 210.410 of the Raymore City Code Tobacco 21 Initiative.
I'll second the motion, sir.
Thank you. Motion been made and seconded to approve the first reading of Bill 3373. Any further discussion? Mr. Kellogg.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm just kind of curious, do we have any kind of rubrics or anything that we're planning on utilizing to measure the results of this initiative?
Mr. Zerr?
Well, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I wasn't prepared for that. We just like anything else, this would be enforced on a complaint basis, as we discussed at the work session. And if it was enforced through the police department, it would be on the police blotter, and it would be more than likely in the supplemental weekly report that the council gets because of the unusual nature of it.
Yeah, I know that a couple of other communities here in northern Cass County are pursuing the same initiative. Be interesting to see if they pursue and get along with it as well as we have gotten the information on this particular topic. I think from an enforcement perspective, Chief, I had asked you to kind of check with a couple of the other Tobacco 21 communities. Do you have anything to add to that?
Yes, sir, I do. Thank you. I did. After you and I spoke, reached out to a number of departments, obviously utilizing the map that Tobacco 21 has, so other similar sized departments to ours. And It's exactly as Mr. Fearborn has indicated. It's complaint-based. They haven't seen a significant change in their enforcement activity. Those police departments, I spoke with the chief of each one of those, because they are actually monitoring the sellers, not the users. It will not be, you know, individuals walking down the street smoking a cigarette. It will be those individuals just selling those products to individuals under the age of 21. So none of the departments I spoke with, 6 departments in this area, have not seen a significant change in their enforcement activity. Although they do, you know, utilize, you know, the complaints and that sort of thing. So.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Anything else? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion? Those against? Motion carries 7-4 and 1 opposed. Could I please have the first reading of Bill 3372 by title only?
The first reading of Bill 3372 by title only. An ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri approving an agreement with the Community Bank of Raymore to provide the city depository services for a 3-year period.
Thank you. Is there a staff report, sir?
Thank you, Your Honor. I would ask Ms. Watson to make a staff report on this agenda item.
Thank you, sir. Staff prepared a request for a proposal to provide the banking services for the city. The RFP was mailed directly to the Cass County institutions. Staff received 5 requests for proposals. Staff analyzed all the proposals. All of them were sound proposals. The Community Bank of Raymore provided the best proposal. The information that was provided, the monthly interest earnings was the greatest provided from them. They also provided no monthly charges. They were the only ones that did so. So their net monthly earnings on the data that we provided out was the greatest. So once again, we are recommending Community Bank of Raymore to be our community bank again.
Okay. Thank you.
And that concludes staff report.
Any questions of Cindy? Yep, Mr. Berenson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I saw all the other proposals here, and I just want to add, it looks like we're saving about $2,600 a month, a little bit more than that.
We'll get some of that back, we'll take it.
Maybe not, but thank you anyway. Anyway, I was going to say thank you to the Bank of Raymore. That's a great proposal, and looking forward to doing business with them again. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Thank you, sir. Oh, Mr. Serco, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I'm looking at these reports and what we can save going through the Community Bank of Raymore, which I think is a fantastic bank and organization here in Raymore, and their facilities and other parts. But thank the Community Bank of Raymore. Thank you guys for doing this and staying on board with this to really give us a fair and unbiased opportunity to save money with the city, and being one of our largest banks here. I really thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else? No further discussion? Is there a motion to dispose of the first reading of Bill 3372?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve Bill 3372, depository agreement.
I'll second the motion, sir.
Thank you. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the first reading of Bill 3372. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion carries unanimously, 8-0. Last item on the agenda is, could I please have the first reading of Bill 3376 by title only?
The first reading of Bill 3376 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri establishing compensation levels for the mayor and city council.
Thank you, and I think I'll probably go ahead and take the lead on the staff report on this particular item. As you know, I brought before you at our one of our work sessions the proposal of raising the mayor and council member pay for the next elected cycles for those positions from the present $600 for the mayor to $1,000 per month, and $350 per council member to $600 per month. That was based upon a study that I worked with staff on over the last 22 years of engagement on from the time that our charter was passed. Very little change has been made to those levels of pay. I think it started off at $5.75 for the mayor and maybe $3.25 for, or yeah, I think it was around $300 or $3.25 for the council members. There was in 2007, there was a proposal that was vetoed by the then mayor that was really very similar to the levels that I'm recommending to the group at this time. And as you know, last year during the charter amendments, question 4B, which passed by nearly 89% approval rating, dealt with the review on an annual basis of the compensation for elected officials. Obviously, our community is supportive of us ensuring that those are fair levels of compensation. And given the background information that I provided, which also was backed up by staff with the latest memo from Mr. Fearborn that I asked him to put together that answered some of the questions that came up during the work session, I feel it's a pretty fair request to propose to the council at this time. And with that, I'll open it up for discussion. Anyone? Ms. Abdelgawad.
I'll just start. I'm not going to get into this as much as I did at the work session. I'm adamantly against this. I can't argue that we haven't had raises for many years. However, a couple of the major things that I think about with this is, number one, when I'm looking at things on our agenda, my first question is, how's this going to make Raymore better? I can't find any way that this is going to make Raymore better. I don't think we'll get any better people choosing to run for city council seats because they get paid more. In no way is the charter being changed to change the requirements of the amount of work that we do as council members or as the mayor. So we're paying ourselves more, but we're not requiring any more of people in this position. Sure, a lot of us go above and beyond what is required of us, but until the charter's changed to require that we do those things, I don't think it's fair for us to put more money in our pockets for the things that we do that are above and beyond the requirements. Because just because we do them doesn't mean the people after us will do them, but they will definitely get this raise should it be passed. I had lots more comments at the last work session. People can watch that and see the rest, but in a nutshell, I don't think it will make Raymore better, and the requirements aren't changing, therefore our pay shouldn't change.
Thank you. Mr. Burke.
Thank you. I wanted to talk about one of the points that Councilmember Abdelgawad mentioned. In the charter that was passed by the voters, we actually did change the requirements in looking at our attendance. We used to only include these legislative meetings, and now we actually include the work sessions as well. I would have taken a longer vacation. My wife would have been happier, but I wanted to put my money where my mouth is on this situation and not miss 2 meetings in a row. So I've arranged my summer that way.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Holman.
I apologize for being a stickler for Robert's Rules of Order, but I'm going to move at this time that we approve Bill 3376, Mayor and Council Compensation. If there is a second, then we can proceed on with more discussion, sir.
Okay, thank you. Motion's been made and seconded. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the first reading of Bill 3376. Any further discussion? Mr. Holman.
One other comment, while maybe the charter did impose some additional requirements upon us, there have certainly been additional requirements imposed upon this council in the past 22 years. The number of meetings have certainly increased. The workload has certainly increased during that time. Maybe there wasn't an immediate change in our workload in the last 6 months, but anyone looking at the growth of the city can see that the demands on this body, as well as the other bodies of the city, have certainly increased greatly.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Those, no further discussion. All those in favor of the motion? Opposed? Motion carries 6-4, 2 against. That concludes our formal agenda. We'll move on to public comments. If there's anyone from the public that would like to address the council at this time, please step forward, state your name and address for the record, and keep your comments to a maximum of 5 minutes. Anyone care? Please step forward. Can you turn on the microphone?
Thank you. My name is Pam Hatcher. My address is 1402 Young Circle, Raymore, Missouri. And I hadn't planned on speaking tonight, but I just wanted to address the last agenda item real quickly. I grew up, I'm a hometown girl of Belton, graduated from Belton High School, and have just recently moved back to Raymore. Lived in Lee Summit for 29 years, and was very involved with both the school district and the city. I am the broker and owner of Integrity Group Real Estate. If you've probably seen my signs right over here, I'm listed Conway's property. I currently have a contract out there behind Freedom Stop. I will be back before you here shortly asking for rezoning. I've recently sold 5 homes in Creekmore in the last 3 months. I plan on making a very large presence in Raymore again. I've moved my parents from Bel-Ray to Foxwood Springs in the last 2 years. So to address the compensation issue, I was shocked as I ran through this quickly and saw that it was the compensation was only $600 and that it was only $300 and some dollars. So give yourself a raise, and I know it won't affect you unless you're reelected. It will affect the next ones, but I do believe you will draw some additional people, because I believe that when you look at this and you look at the amount of time, and when I saw on the agenda that the work sessions are the alternating Mondays and the council sessions are, the other 2 Mondays, every Monday of the month. It's a lot of work you guys are putting in, so be proud of yourselves, and it was a well-run meeting tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. Anyone else? If not, we'll go ahead and close the public comments at this time and move on to the mayor-council communication, and I'll start with Mr. Circo tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess to end for the night, I guess I want to say again, thank you to Nate and your staff and the Parks and Rec, and how hard and diligently you guys work to improve Raymore. And the beauty of Raymore and the growth, what you guys are doing, is just fantastic. It will bring many people here because of the work you do. And the city staff working with you, our police chief and our police department. This drone situation, I think we're way overdue. This is a modern age. We don't have a helicopter in the city, but I think, drones, things, they will come in handy. And I really believe the age of the drone, for us to have a police force who could use that in critical situations with the night vision and everything, is just phenomenal. I think I'm so happy that we have that, and I think it'll come in way handy. I know it will pay for itself in the long run. There's no doubt in my mind. I want to again thank the bank, CBR Bank, Community Bank Raymore. Thank you very much, Jack, and you guys. You guys are doing a tremendous job here. And I want to say something to you. I've been on a short time, a few minutes here about as a city councilman, a few months. But I am so elated and excited and happy to be voted in here. I've been working with the staff in the city. They're enormous. They're just fantastic. And I want to tell every city council person here and the mayor, you guys are all very phenomenal people. You're very educated. You're very understanding of what you do. You take the time to do what you do. I respect each and every one of you. We do sometimes agree to disagree, and that is what we do in life. But to be able to hear all the different views from each and every individual, why they feel something's good or bad or indifferent, is very important to me. I think to each council person here, because that's the way it should be done. We don't want everybody voting yes for everything, whether they like it or not. We want to hear if you have an adversity, a problem with something, or if you like something. I think it's very important that we do that. And this council stands up and they do speak their mind, and I respect that immensely. And I love and respect every council member here and the mayor and the city. I'm really, again, excited about being here, and we'll give 110% because this is an enormous group of people up here, and I do respect you and the city and everything we do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Burke.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wanted to remind myself, when I used to be on planning and zoning, I learned from the people there, and one of the things that I really took to heart every week was they thanked the staff for their work. And I know as a council member, I have thanked staff individually, or I've talked about exciting events in the city. But I wanted to just say this week only, thank you to the staff for everything that you do. It's very appreciated. We live in a great city because we have people that are following best practices. I felt like when I came into this that I would look at what are the best practices in cities and see where we were lacking. And it's tough to find them. It's tough to find where we're not following best practices. So kudos to the staff.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Townsend.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll try to be brief tonight. I don't usually talk long, but there's one thing that pops up this evening. Excellent. I appreciate Ms. Hatcher stepping up this evening and giving kind of her history on her background and investing in Raymore. That's outstanding. And it leads into my point that I've had since coming on the council, and reading today's paper really brings home the point of how this area is growing, and it's growing very fast. And the time horizon for Raymore is fast approaching with regard to all the different diversity of businesses that are in Raymore. In my short time here in Raymore, about 8 years now, we've seen the Raymore Galleria change from what used to be the Dean Farm to now a bustling business space. Several different businesses, if you go down 58, have come in and filled in spaces. If you go down I-49, you see the different infrastructure that has, you see the different businesses that have come into place. Honeywell is new since I've been here. What I call that Center Point or Center Modal, that's new since I've been here in the 8 years. Excuse me, the name of that? Centerview. I don't want to confuse it with our. Yes. The vehicle transportation location is new to us. All the different businesses along that route, the Belton Gateway, has come into place. Why am I mentioning businesses that are not within the city limit of Raymore? It's because those businesses, as we experience from our own economic development team and research and retail strategies, it's not the business, your citizens that you're trying to grow businesses for. It's also the surrounding region that also draws that additional tax revenue. So as we are, benefiting, and we are, Raymore and Belton or economic development departments are each actively engaging to develop and attract, how would I call it? I don't want to say competing, but complementing businesses to each other to attract different residents and consumers to the area. Our own community development, we see every night or every week the new house builds, new permits. In a short time I've been here, if I conservatively 1,600 new homes, in that short 8-year time frame. So if you listen to all of that, we've grown, a consumer base, we've grown residents. But the one sticking point for this area is that I-49 corridor. That is a, and as we continue to grow, as the one thing that I said earlier that came out in the paper is how Belton is now growing their commercial retail space with a 2 million square foot, commercial warehouse, 5 buildings. What does that mean? That's going to be a huge commercial vehicle footprint coming through that choke point. So the point is, this region is growing faster than MoDOT. It's growing faster than MARC, and are they aware? For that time I've been here, they've been focused on what? Buck O'Neill Bridge. They've been out that way, concerned with that area. I think it's an opportunity for us as a region to leverage that growth and get in front of them and says, hey, it's now time to pay attention to this area while we don't fund, say, MoDOT to that aspect, we take care of our own city limits and our streets, and we do an outstanding job of that. To Mr. Burke's point, our streets are well taken care of. But we also have to look externally, as we did with 155th Street, and how we interacted with Kansas City and thought outside the box there and came up to a solution that benefited both communities. I think we have an opportunity now to also do the same with Missouri Department of Transportation, with MARC, to come together, come bring the communities together and come up with a strategic plan or something, whether it be in our staff and with the mayor's approval at a work session to review what MARC has on the docket for I-49, whatever that is, and what can we do to expand and accelerate that timeline so that when those things are built, as within our own economic development department, how we're looking at some things from a commercial, light industrial, whatever that may be, whenever that may be, we want to have some things in place so that that is there so that our citizens have a easier commute into town, so that as those things come online and are open for business, it's not an afterthought that, oh, now let's look at the freeway infrastructure. It's a part of the discussion as they're building out, so that we can strategically plan, whether it be a collective setting aside monies, or we engage the MoDOT and MARC for them to specifically address and come online with something. But I feel that now is the time for us as a community, in both communities, to interact with MARC directly, with those who have seats at the table, to really get this area in front of the decision makers, to get funding available so that we can really address that point. Because as soon as that's an out year, 5 years or so. I don't know the timeline for that particular structure, but that's at the beginning of that choke point. We'll drop down to 2 lanes, and with the exit for wherever the exit point for that particular location, for a warehouse and semi-trucks, that's going to be even more challenging to egress and get on and off the freeway. So I would ask staff, and with the mayor's approval, if future, whatever timeline you deem appropriate, that we can have some sort of a discussion and come up with a way to really get the attention on this area with regard to that particular point. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. If Mr. Moorhead was watching tonight, you just made him very proud. Mr. Kellogg.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wasn't going to say much tonight, but to dovetail off of what Councilman Burke was talking about as far as for best practices, he's absolutely spot on. I'm going to dovetail off that, take a little bit further. Not only are they spot on, that when our Public Works Department had the courage to self-examine for their certification, and that came back and we were certified, the certification agency took those evaluations, those self-evaluations, and they went and reviewed them, and they determined that many, and I can't remember how many it is, and I know Mike's sitting down there and he probably has that number in the back of his head, so many of those were determined to be the best practice of the industry. So that in itself says a lot. You know, that just gave the whole staff kudos on that, because that self-evaluation wasn't just through the Parks Department. That was citywide that helped those folks out. So thank you for bringing it up. That gave me something, you know, actually solid to talk about tonight, and very well deserving, you know. So thanks again, and again, thanks to staff for everything, you know, day in and day out, you know. So that's all I got, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Berenson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Pam Hatcher, do I have the name right? Is that right? I love your enthusiasm for the city. Thank you again for speaking with us tonight, and thank you again for your investment in our city. Also want to congratulate those that are newly appointed and reappointed, and then thank Rich again for being here this evening as well. And the drone demonstration was fantastic tonight. I know there were some little glitches there, but nevertheless, we can definitely see the capability and look forward to seeing that thing getting used in the future. So thanks again for doing that. And lastly, boy, I'm going to mess the name up. It's not the 4th of July celebration. This weekend, Spirit of America. Thank you. I'm going to be out of town and I won't be able to attend that. Nathan, I know you wanted some volunteers for the dunk tank. And if I can't be here, can I nominate some of my friends instead? I'll send you an email on that. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you, Mr. Berenson. Ms. Abdel-Gawad.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just real quick want to take a minute to thank the drone team, of course, Captain Mayberry that was up here, but all of the other people we saw on the camera that were helping in the background. And of course, thank the council for taking that initiative to purchase the drones and train the officers and staff to work with the drones. I think we're kind of on the cutting edge as far as police work goes using the drones, and I'm excited to see where that goes. I want to welcome and thank the 7 new and old appointees to our boards and commissions. Thanks for your willingness to serve on those boards and commissions and help support us in leading the city. I'm excited that the council is going to get a chance tomorrow with the Parks Board to go tour our newest building that hopefully will be ready to go in about a month, we hear, the RAC down at Rec Park. And Chief, I want to ask you to just clarify, I think Mr. Serco said he wants to buy a helicopter for PD.
That's what I heard.
I thought so. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barber.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to repeat some of this, but I always like to thank our citizen volunteers. And if you notice, we had a few reappointments, but we also had a couple of new ones. Mr. Barrow, which stayed, thanks for staying, and there's Ryan Supple as well. It's nice that well, I've said this before, we can't run this city without our citizen volunteers. They're very, very important, and it's nice to see people that are committed and stay, and it's also nice to see some new folks. So I appreciate all of them and all they do. I did want to put a shout out for the Spirit of America celebration. Last year, if you missed it last year, you can't miss it this year. So it is a phenomenal fireworks show and sound show, and you get to see the best of Raymore. I would ask the mayor if he would use his mayoral power to grant us great weather and me a good parking spot. And it's a phenomenal event that we do. Ms. Hatcher, thank you for your comments. Appreciate your investment in Raymore. I'm also a former Belton High School graduate, so I make my home here. So your words resonated in my ears, so thanks so much.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Holman.
Thank you, sir. A couple of things. I would echo the comments of all of my colleagues tonight. Very well spoken on the part of everyone up here. I do want to speak, congratulations to all the appointees and reappointees, but I have to speak out about Mr. Bartow. I've known him for some time. He will make an excellent addition to the Parks Board. What you should know about Mr. Bartow is the immense amount of time that he donates to the community, to the Parks and Rec Department through our competitive soccer team, Raymore United. He is currently the club director. Is that the best term that we're going to use? But he has grown the club from its beginnings of my team to his team with 2 to 6, and we were anticipating maybe 10 this fall. So it's growing, and that is because of a lot of hard uncompensated work on his part because of the kids, for the kids of this community, and it's really paid off. He is a defector from a former club in the area that's no longer with us, and saw the value of coming back home to our community and what it can offer. So thank you, Rich, for volunteering to be on Parks Board. I know we will be well served by you being here. Mr. Mayor, I want to thank you again. You never fail to recognize when we have an unfortunate death or serious injury in law enforcement in the community. Speaks to you and I, most certainly because of our chosen professions, but I think speaks to every citizen, or should speak to every citizen. So thank you, sir, for doing that. And the last thing that I would have would be for staff. I have, for many times, as many of you have, talked about thank you for staff. Thank you to staff, Mr. Fearborn. We know that they work hard, very hard, and that they do a fantastic job. They're setting the standard across the industry. But one thing that we maybe don't hit on very often is that there was a change I noticed when Mr. Fearborn came on board. It is no longer enough for our staff under Mr. Fearborn's watch to simply take care of standard business. We now must see how we can improve the lives of our citizens on an everyday basis. And staff has taken that challenge with great enthusiasm, and they have practiced that every day for the last 5 years that I have seen, perhaps longer. But we have the best staff available, and it's because of that philosophy, sir. Thank you very much. Please pass on my appreciation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Holman. I would echo that as well. As I interact with other mayors within the Kansas City metropolitan area, I'm constantly getting kudos for the directors that we have in our staff positions. It is a very proud moment when I can sit there with my head held high and say, yep, that's my team. It is a great team. I want to thank Community Bank of Raymore. Thank you for continuing your support of the city. As one of the leaders in the Missouri Independent Bankers Association here in the state of Missouri, it's nice to know that a local banker cares enough about hometown business to offer those amenities at such a great rate and continue to work with us. So Jack, please pass that along. Thank you so much. The drone program, it's tough when you go last here to talk about anything new, but I'm really excited about that. I wish it would have been available when I was still police chief. Those are certainly elements of technology that will help us be better at what we do in enforcing the laws. With regard to our volunteers, Rich, thank you. I know you're only one of 7 that was appointed tonight, but we can't do all the work that we do up here without our volunteers, and I appreciate you taking on that challenge to work with the park board and continue the great work that they do over there. I'm looking forward to the Recreational Activity Center tour. I know we refer to it lovingly as the RAC, but it is the Recreational Activity Center, and we are excited about that opening up hopefully within the next month. I know that the election board is also anticipating because we're moving the elections from Pathways Church to that facility. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that opens up and we're able, probably be the first activity that occurs in that building more than likely, right?
It will be, sir.
It probably will be. And then Saturday fireworks are going to be great. The Spirit of America celebration that Nate puts on and the park board is a wonderful celebration. I know people have gotten a little upset because it's not closer to the 4th of July. We moved it to the Saturday prior, but there's a lot going on this week in other communities. It'll give you an opportunity to come here first and enjoy it, and then maybe seek out those other opportunities to watch the fireworks display. And Pam, thank you again. Appreciate those kind words at the podium, and thank you again for your investment in Raymore. We appreciate that. And I think that's all I have. Do we have reason to go to executive session, sir?
We do not, sir.
Thank you. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second the motion, sir.
Motion been made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously, 8-0. Thank you. We are adjourned.